Alright, let's try this out. I think that worked. Car's looking pretty evil today. Good time to actually catch it in the light. Needs a wash though. It's filthy right now. But yeah. Yo guys, my name's Bilal. Welcome to the channel. Today we're going to be going through the running costs of a Golf R. With mine, it's a stage 1 with the overrun, so in terms of fuel, it does drink a lot more than others, but I'm going to give you an insight into the general costs like servicing, MOT, Haldex, general stuff about the car that will apply to basically any Golf R. So if you're considering buying one or you're looking at it against other cars... 1 minute. Sorry about that. Anyway, where was we at? In terms of fuel, yeah, it drinks more, but in terms of everything else, I'm going to give you a proper cost breakdown. So we're going to start with finance. This is a touchy subject for some people. They don't like talking about how much, well, if the car's financed or how much they pay, etc. I don't think it's too much of a bad thing, to be honest, because you've got to have the money for the monthly payments. So why is it anything to be ashamed of? Like, you've got to have the money for the monthly payments, you've got to have the money for your insurance if you pay monthly, tax for the year, 6 months, however you pay it. You know, it's not a bad thing. If it's more affordable for you to have it monthly, then why not? So I got my car for 20 grand bang on from ACG Motors. My credit at the time, I messed it up a bit when I was younger because of stupid parking fines. Long story. Anyway, so yeah, my credit isn't the best. It's getting better now. It's going to sort out hopefully in like the next year or two. But basically, I put £2,900 down deposit on the car. It means I borrowed 17,100, and then the payments came out at £325 a month over a 4-year PCP. So it's £325 and 10 pence. But yeah, £325 is what I pay per month with a £2,900 deposit. I spoke to quite a few people and they're paying around the same, if not more, if they've put negative equity in before. So it seems about right, kind of right, maybe a little bit higher than it should have been, but that's what you're going to get with finance. If you're borrowing money, obviously you've got to pay the interest unless you find a way to not pay the interest. So that's that. In terms of £300 a month is good because on my 1 Series my credit was absolutely shocking. And the car was like 13 grand. That was my previous car. It was like 13 grand and I was paying £330 a month. It was just ridiculous. So to have a Golf R for like £5 or less a month is so much better, because that was just a 116 as well. The next thing is the insurance. So obviously it's going to differ for everyone because your insurance goes off how old you are, whereabouts you live, like your postcode, what you're trying to drive. Obviously it's going to be a Golf R in this case. It's a high performance car, it's a highly stolen car, which obviously insurance consider as well. It's rapid, obviously it's rapid, it's a high performance car, it gets crashed a lot. These are all things that insurers consider. So in terms of age is probably the biggest factor, because if you're 19 trying to insure a Golf R, chances are A, you're not going to get insurance, or B, you're looking over 5 grand. So me, I'm 23. My postcode is alright now, but it's got bad history, which insurers still consider for some reason. Over 20 years ago we're going back. So mine's 2,300 for the year. Every insurance breakdown is different, like what deposit you pay and then how much you pay a month. So you could be paying £230 a month with a lower deposit, but you're paying £230 a month. So I paid £550 up front, which was a big deposit, but then my insurance was £175 a month. So for the insurance and the car itself, in terms of finance, I pay £500 a month for them two things. If I still have the car when this insurance policy runs out and I renew, or if I go with another insurer, I'm hoping it goes cheaper, but that's what I pay at the moment. But it's the price you've got to pay for a car like this at the end of the day. That's just how much you're going to be paying. So tax-wise, mine's a 2015 5-door. So mine's 205 for the year, £205, or 113 quid for 6 months. But then it changed on the 7.5, which is from 2017 onwards. So you'll be paying 240 for the year, or 132 I think it is 132 for 6 months. So even though I think they made it a bit more efficient in the 7.5, it actually costs more to tax. It's a weird one, but yeah. So you can also go for the direct debit option, which is 50-50 if you want to do that or not. It works for some people, and I think it's like, it'd probably work out around 17-18 quid a month, something like that. I was checking online before, so it's about 17-18 quid a month in terms of that. Then we move on to fuel. Now mine obviously is different. It's stage 1, and the problem with the overrun on mine is when it's actually popping and banging, it's spitting fuel out. So I'm essentially spitting out fuel that's not even been burnt by the engine. So my car, I think I do about 200 miles a week ish, city, and maybe one motorway journey in there, and I'm tanking it every 7 to 9 days. So the tank on it, I think, is 50 litres. It used to cost, before lockdown, it used to cost about 65 quid non V-Power, and about 70 to 72 with V-Power, and that'd get me about a week. But the thing that's changed now is I used to drive up and down to between Preston and Manchester a lot, which is about 30 miles apart, because I was in uni there. I've just finished uni now, and I found that I'm actually getting a bit more out of the tank because I'm driving more around city, but it drinks a lot quicker. But it's just because I'm doing less miles in general, it's taking up less fuel. But I'm probably, in a really bad tank on my car, I'm getting, the worst I've seen is 120, and that was shocking. 120 from a tank. But averaging a bit of maybe 1 or 2 motorway journeys, you get in about 180, and a good tank you'll get, I'd say, best I've seen, 280, and that's when I drove to Birmingham and back in that tank, and I got 280 out of that tank. So in terms of like, if it's your daily driver and you're just doing local drives and stuff, I'll say you're tanking it once a week, and right now fuel is cheap, so it's costing about 55 quid for a tank. But prices will go back up, and then you're probably looking at about 65 quid a week realistically is what you're looking at if it's your daily driver. If it's your weekend car, then it'll be a lot cheaper. The next part we're going to talk about is servicing. So you've got a couple of options here when it comes to servicing. You can go straight to the main dealers, get it done from them. Obviously it costs more, but if you want to keep, if say you've bought it used and it's got full Volkswagen history and you want to keep that up, then that's probably the thing you're going to do. Like mine's got full Volkswagen, so I'll probably stick with the same thing. But you can also go to Volkswagen independent dealers who are trustworthy. Most of them have previously worked in Volkswagen, so they know the exact procedures. You can also go to reputable companies like Halfords. So I've got a couple of prices here for you, just so you know which options you can go for. So a Volkswagen major service is going to cost you £350. Depends on the dealer as well. So this is Inchcape, they have the other ones as well. So Inchcape will charge you £350 for a major service, and then for a minor service they're charging you £220. So I looked at Halfords as well. It didn't actually specify, and because it's locked down I can't really ring them right now, but they didn't actually specify, but they're charging £199 for a service. I'm guessing that's a major one, not a major one, sorry, a minor one. So it's about 20 quid cheaper. For the sake of the book, if I was in that position, I'd just go for the Volkswagen one. But there's many more elements to the service as well. So you've got things that come up. So one thing on the Golfs that is common, and the S3s, is the Haldex. The Haldex is basically the 4-wheel drive system. So our cars aren't technically 4-wheel drive. It runs through a Haldex system. I'm not too clued up on how it actually works, so I'm not going to try and talk about something I don't know about, but they're not fully 4-wheel drive. So the Haldex is basically the thing that makes it kind of be like 4-wheel drive. So that sometimes needs servicing. When it's not serviced and it messes up, the wheels just spin on launch. And anything, the car's basically front wheel drive, it spins. When I got my car, the Haldex wasn't done, and it just spun for fun all the time. It was so annoying because I thought I bought a 4-wheel drive car and all it does is spin. When I launched it, when I booted it from traffic lights, when I booted it in 2nd gear, 3rd gear, I think it only didn't do it after 4th gear, and it was so annoying. So I got a quote from Volkswagen, and they charge for the full service £250. Now I was a bit lucky with mine because I went to LSG Performance in Bolton, and he just did a little experiment. He just reset my Haldex system and mine was sorted after that. But sometimes the fluid needs topping up, the filters need changing, and that's going to cost you about £250. But at the time that I got that quote, I also went to Euro Car Parts, who are legends in terms of parts. If you need parts and you don't want to pay the stupid prices but you want the genuine parts, Euro Car Parts is the way. I got a price from them of £57 for the whole Haldex service kit, and then you just need to find someone to do it, and it'll cost you maybe what, maximum I'd say £50 to get it done. So £100 and you can get the Haldex sorted, or you can pay £250 to Volkswagen. Then you have the cam belt and water pump. So Volkswagen charge £450 for the cam belt, which needs changing around every 40 to 50,000 miles, depending on how the car's been driven as well, or 5 years they say. Or they do the cam belt and water pump for £500 combined. Now that's just one thing you need to look out for when you're buying the car itself. Look at the mileage, check if it's been done. Mine was done, so I was alright, because I bought mine on I think 45, so mine was already done. You need to check if it's been done. If it hasn't been done, maybe convince the dealer or the person you're buying from to get it done. Or you need to take the car for a good drive and just make sure that the car drives right, because if you buy it, overpay for the car, and then that goes wrong, then it's going to start getting expensive. So the next part is tyres. Luckily, because it is four-wheel drive, it's not something that you'll need to be doing too often unless you're sending it around bends, which I don't, because I don't want to crash my car. I just like driving it and making noise. But obviously for some people it's a driver's car. They'll take it on the country roads, rip it, track days, all that. So my car's running Comorans by Michelin. They're quite rare tyres, I've heard. I got them with the car. They were brand new when they came on. I've not had to change them yet. So they were about £600-700 you're looking at for them kind of tyres. Or any Michelins, I'd say in general, you're looking about between the 500 and 700 mark, depending on which ones you go for. Pilot Super Sports, PS4s, etc. Obviously you can go for the cheaper option as well. It's up to you if you really want to do that. Personally, if you've got a car like this, you should go for at least a decent brand, maybe Dunlops, Goodyears, but don't go anything like budget, because it'll just be shite, to be honest. There's no point. You might as well, if you're going to buy a car like this, you need to spend the money on it. So yeah, when mine come up, or if they do come up in my life of ownership, then I will change it, but I'll do them properly. I won't do a cheap job. So the next bit we've got to talk about is brakes. Now you've got a couple of options. I did a bit of research for the video when it comes to brakes. I've not had to change mine yet, but I think they're going to come up soon, so I'm going to be looking at my options, because Volkswagen's prices are mad. So £289 for the front brake pads and discs, £264 for the rears. If you're going for just, let me just have a look. If you're going for just the front brake pads, it's £154. If you're going for just the rear brake pads, it's £164. That's from Inchcape again, my local one, so that's the prices they gave. I don't really think they need to be done from Volkswagen, if I'm completely honest. As long as you're running good brakes, you buy good brakes, then you're fine. And again, this is where I did the research. Euro Car Parts, legends. Honestly, their prices are so much better. I've got the price comparison here. So for the fronts, pads and discs, this is £235 Brembos, so good brand. £235 compared to Volkswagen's like 300, and I think they might not be Brembos that they put on either. There's not too much there, because obviously you've got to pay for labour as well, but if you find a good mechanic, he probably charge you 20-30 quid to do them. Around Manchester anyway, because there's so much competition. But there's not too much saving there, but the saving is really on the back. So it was £264 from Volkswagen. Euro Car Parts, you can get Brembo pads and discs, £130, so half the price. And then you just need to get them fitted. If you're doing all in one, then obviously you'll get a better price. But it's like you're saving half the money, so you do not need to pay big money for the rears. Even for the rear, if you're just getting the rears changed, but it's fronts more, the front brakes are bigger, but you don't need to pay big money for them. One more thing I've just looked into, Dsg Service. Mine got done on its previous service. That's every 40,000 miles. If you want to get that done, it's from Volkswagen, and they will charge you £199 for the DSG oil filter and service on the actual DSG gearbox. If you have a manual, it's not a problem, but most of them are DSG. If you don't get that done, the car's going to be a bit sluggish, a bit laggy. Even if you service it, if you look after everything else, the car will be a bit sluggish, a bit laggy when you're gear changing manually, or even in general, because it's an automatic. So that needs to get done. If you're buying a car that's around the 40,000 mark, it's just been serviced and it's not at the DSG, then you need to convince the person selling it to get it done. Because when I bought my car, before the map, the gear changes were bang on. I've driven another one that didn't have one, and it's so sluggish, it's shocking. So that needs to be done. It's £200, so it's not too expensive. It doesn't need to be done every service, every 40,000 miles. To be honest, it's probably going to get done, what, maximum 3 times in the car's lifetime. That's 120,000 miles, because I don't think anyone's going to be buying a Golf R past 120. I don't think you'd buy one past 80 anyway. So make sure that's done. That's an important factor. If you're buying a car that's around the 40k mark, check the book, service book, make sure the Dsg service has been done, and then you're good to go. That's kind of the main costs of the car covered, but you've got to bear in mind that's before any mods. So if you're planning to mod the car up, you need to consider all these costs. So all in, I think my car is costing me monthly, without the servicing and any other maintenance, just the monthly cost, it's probably costing me around £700–800 to run. It is expensive, but I love it. I spend most of my time in my car because I work mobile, so I like having something nice to drive. So for me, it's worth it. I don't want to get around in something that's going to bore me, or because it's the main place where I spend my car. I want something fast, good speakers, nice place to be. So that's what I wanted. If you're considering it, don't just think about the monthly payment and think, oh yeah, I can afford £300 a month, not a problem. Because I did the same mistake with another car when I was young. I seen the car, it was 170. It was a Clio 2013 plate. It was my first car that I had by myself. It was £177 a month. I didn't think about the insurance. I didn't think about the fuel. I didn't think about maintaining it, and I just thought £177 a month. It's perfect. I can get it. Bought the car, and I was in uni. I wasn't working really I was doing a part-time job, but it wasn't enough to pay for the car. And I completely messed up because it was causing me so much stress. I was having to work, then I was balancing uni, family, and you just have no life. And I say it all the time, there's no point bending over backwards for a car. If you have to graft to own a car, there's no point. Like, I can afford the car comfortably. I don't have to bend. Like, I work hard, but I work hard for me to save for other things, but not for the car. I used to work for my car, and it's not worth it. You just kill yourself, you stress yourself out, and you actually start despising the car itself, because when you look at it, you just think, all I do is work for this car, and it's not worth it. If you can't afford it, just wait, keep saving, and keep working towards it. And when you can finally afford it comfortably, then buy it. Because I bought a Clio RS when I was 19, left it completely stock. I've seen my friend now, Evan O'Gorman, check him out on Instagram. He's bought one. He's completely done it up, and his looks sick. And I wish I'd done that with mine, but because I did the same thing again, I didn't think, and I just bought the car, and I could just about afford to run it. And now I look back on it, I would have rather not have bought that car, saved up more, and then maybe by the time I was 20, 21, I would have been able to buy a better car, do it up properly. But I learned from them mistakes, and now, you know, I waited, I got this 116, I waited patiently, and I got this when at a time I was comfortable to buy it and do it up at the same time. So that's one thing you really need to look out for. Please don't just think about monthly payments, because I know so many young people, that's all they see. When they see the monthly payment, they dive straight in with the car, and it's not going to work out. Work out all the finances. If it's a Golf R, there's videos here, and it's realistic figures. There's no BS here. These are realistic figures of what it's going to cost you if you're driving it daily. If it's an S3, it's pretty much the same thing. It's going to cost you, it might be a bit more if you're staying with dealer, because Audi charge more. And if it's another performance car, then you'll find other videos about them. But this is the real cost for this car, so do not dive heads in first. One more thing I'm going to say, obviously it doesn't apply to everyone, but if your parents are advising you against the car because of cost reasons, listen to them. Because my mum was always telling me, it's going to be too much, you're gonna stress yourself out, it's not worth it. And I was young and I was a bit arrogant, and I was like, no, don't say that, blah blah blah, you know, all that kind of nonsense. And I'll openly say now, she was right. It was too much for, you know, you think when you're 17, 18, you've grown up and you're a big man and all this bullshit, but realistically, you've not seen the real world yet. You're still in uni or college, and you think, oh, I've grown up now, I'm not in school anymore. But wait until you finish uni, wait until you go and fend for yourself. I really learned for myself when I moved out of uni and I lived out for myself, and that's when you really learn what the real world is. You start to learn. You still have student finance and all that, but you start to learn what the real world life is like and how it is to budget and maintain costs and all that. So just be careful. But yeah, thank you for watching the video. Please like, subscribe and share. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope it was useful and informative for you, and I'll catch you guys next time.